Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Everybody ready? What's your energy level at the moment? Just to calibrate the room and so I can... 9, 4, somewhere in the middle? Okay, because if you said 6, then I'm happy because I'll take you all the way up to about 9, perhaps even 10. But if you had said 9, then I'll have to do something different. So, allow me to start this whole thing, and a beautiful word was mentioned earlier on by our doctor here, and that was humanity. And I'll talk a lot about humanity this morning, not just AI, and how it fits into our overall structure. Let me introduce you to myself through a video, because I have done this all over the world over 500 times. And what I bring in today to you is a cross-fertilization and a convergence of different industries coming together. Because now we cannot have silos. Now we cannot just have PropTech and Contech. We actually are looking at all aspects of life as we look forward into that. So this is my introduction, and I present all over the world, and I do crazy things. I'm a lawyer and an author, and I've introduced this book, bringing in hundreds of international voices to the design for the 20th century and set up in the 20th century. So the 20th century companies are coming down, and the 21st century companies are going up to celebrate innovation, to celebrate research and development, to actually bring ideas and investments together. We can solve the big challenges of the world. We can talk about poverty, healthcare, education, climate. AI can also help our businesses, our apps. It facilitates. I do a lot of social work, and that fits it to a lot of the things that we are working on. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, you understand my relevance to this as a non-construction and property person. I'm bringing in technology, I'm bringing in humanity, and so on. There are many big questions to ask. I would like you to ask 3 big questions to yourself all of today. Question number 1 is, are you future ready, by a show of hands, to capitalize on the 10x opportunities that are in front of you? Hands. How many people do you feel are future ready to be able to do this? Nobody? Are you too sleepy? If it's nobody, I'm really worried. Normally it's about 20% of the room. The second key question, which is really important for today, is, are you leveraging your superpowers? Are you leveraging your talent? Are you leveraging your opportunities in front of you with you as a human being, as an individual? And last but not the least is, are you a construction company, or are you a tech company that does construction? And even more important, are you an AI-driven company that does technology and digitization and construction? And I think the way moving forward and to reframe your thought is, you need to be AI companies before 2030 that do construction, that do property, that do real estate, rather than the other way around, that you're a real estate company using technology and AI. And that's the shift. And if I had more time, I would go through some case studies where this has actually happened. So to have a bit of fun, let me take you into the future. Today is the 30th of April, 2025. Would you like a news bulletin from 30th of April, 2035? Yes? Okay, here we go. This is 2035. My view is that a lot of the future has already happened. It's just unevenly distributed, and you will see this future as you go into the future. This is inevitable. It's already happening. This is important. We can engage, connect. Really powerful, and in the construction space, this would be important. A kid that will live to 150 is born. Elimination of a lot of diseases. I'm a bit optimistic here, at least there. Neural interfaces is happening. This is going to solve a lot of our issues. We are doing this already in Dubai. We're actually ahead of the game. And we may need to leave Earth. And one of the key things on this one is also that by 2035, all of us will actually have a digital twin. It's going to happen. So we will construct ourselves according to that. Now, we all know that technology and technological change will move faster than social, political, or business change. So we need to engage with that. For the first time in history, our past does not represent our present. Our present does not represent our future. Our future represents our future. And today, as a futurist, I'll bring it back to us. Now, as we look into the future, my job, your job, is to make ourselves future ready, future fit, and ideally future proof. And these are the three things, and you need to be thinking like that rather than just within your silos and so on. So while we do that, what do you think is the single most important thing that is going to define our future? One thing, in my opinion. Anything? Sorry? People, very good answer. Anybody else? What do you think is going to engage and define our future? Thoughts? It could be an emotion, it could be a technology, it could be something. Data is critically important. We are looking too narrowly. My view is that the future is going to be defined by trust. We have a deficit of trust. We don't trust our government. We are very blessed in this country, so we are okay here. So you get a little bit insulated. But globally, when you look at it, we don't trust our companies. We don't trust our governments. We don't trust our data. We don't trust our institutions. And in our industry, we need trust. Trust is going to define our future. Very close brother and sister is truth and ethics. We're living in a post-truth world. And what is ethics? Nobody even knows about that, right? Now, can you imagine AI without trust, truth, and ethics? It is actually a weapon of mass destruction. So we need to be able to look at our ethical component and our core morality as we look into the future. And what the hell are we going to live in this world for if we don't have empathy, love, joy? That's what we're here for. So ladies and gentlemen, if you remember nothing of my presentation except this slide, I have made some contribution to your thought process as we look into the future. Now, why is this important? Look at this. You're all managers and senior people. 82% of the people feel that our robots are doing a better job than you. 82%. And that is a really difficult statistic to handle, and how we address that. Because the future is really faster than we think. And all of these industries are coming up, and these industries are going to affect you. They are multi-trillion-dollar industries that are coming all over the place. And we, as a construction and property, are actually going to be impacted by all of them. So you're not only looking at AI, which is in the middle, you have to look at robotics, you have to look at blockchain, and all of the other components that come together. So this is how the future is going to look like. I'm part of the Future Foundation, and we produced this report called Global 50 Report here. And these are the 10 mega trends for the next 10 years. They might look a little bit unfamiliar. It's okay. This is a new framing of the world. But in our world of technology, in our world of construction and property, all of these things are going to be integrated in there. And I think this is one of the key things you need to be looking at. Another scary one is that 70 to 80% of the jobs that we are being trained for at school and colleges and the things that you're working on will no longer exist in 2030. So I promise you, all of you sitting here, 70 to 80% of you will be doing a different job by 2030, which hasn't even been invented yet. And I'll give you some future jobs. So you need to be looking at adapting all of that. The second is AI obviously will take 40% of our work. And the third one is the scary one. And that is up to less than 20% of the people in boards and executive positions are qualified to make decisions on a technological front. So this is really scary as we look forward into the future. Now, data. A lot of people talk about data. Have you heard data is the new oil? Yeah, actually it is. Let me explain that. An oil barrel is $80. Today is around $70. But then racing fuel is over $1,000 from the same core, because you synthesize it, enhance it, add it, and develop it, and you actually end up with a $1,000 barrel of oil. Now, exactly the same thing for data, and data is actually more powerful. Your data is today used for loyalty and marketing and stuff like that. But if you anonymize it first, so we have GDPR and control there, and then you fractionalize it, tokenize it, enhance it, change it, productize it, you can make your data work 17x more. Ladies and gentlemen, you are sitting on an absolute gold mine, and you don't even realize that you can make more money from utilizing data processes in AI than even in construction. And this is one of the things. We are at some stage of this. So it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you start realizing that this is an important space that you have to work on. So we can do many things. I don't have that much time, so I'm rushing it through. But you can create an internal department. You can create a separate company on the side as a data co, or team up with somebody, an expert. But without this, there is no AI. AI became AI because of computing power, connectivity, and most importantly, data. And data is the juice that drives that, so you have to be an integral part of that. Okay, so AI. Why are we introducing AI in this world? Because AI is our brains are, we have Paleolithic brains, old brains, but we have godlike technology, and we have the new things to be looking at. So therefore, we need to be looking at that. What I put up here are the things that you need to make AI work. Have you noticed there's very little technology there? It's humanity, it's empathy, it's collaboration, it's judgment, wisdom, creativity. So because anything that can be digitized will be. Because it will be 1,000,000 times faster and 1,000,000 times cheaper than anything that cannot be digitized. Love, connection, harmony, trust, ethics, empathy, all of these things will be 1,000,000 times more valuable. So build your environments, your living environments around those kinds of things, and that is how we look into the future. So just to demystify AI, the most important thing in AI is talent and culture, us, and how we can, these are our appreciating assets and all our data. These are everything else will depreciate, these two will appreciate. We narrow the problem, don't try to boil the ocean and change everything. Narrow it down to as small a piece as you possibly can. Build business cases, look at the risk and ethics, and finally, continuous improvement over time. Again, if I had more time, I will drill deeper into this, and I'll mention a use case. Aiden, does anyone know Aiden? Make Aiden your best friend of the future. This is Abu Dhabi. This is the International Holding Corporation, a $500 billion company. They have introduced Aiden as a board member, as a virtual entity, as a non-voting board member. All of the CEOs and all of the big construction companies need to actually have that, because the bot knows everything. So the new chairman CEO's office is going to look like this: a chairman, a young smart geek, and a bot. This is your new office, ladies and gentlemen, and it's already happening, and it's real. A quick case study that we have done here, and we'll look at that. One of the things on the case study, and I've worked with most of the major corporations here, looking at their data, AI, and processes, we have found hundreds of millions of dollars worth of value sitting under the table, not being used because you're too busy building and constructing and not utilizing the data that you have. And as you aggregate data, and a lot of our companies, Imar Group, Dubai Group, Shob, all of these people have multiple activities here. The moment you start actually bringing and converging the data, the game changes. And it exponentially changes the value creation that goes out there. So you can create a whole data structure, a data exchange, and this is how we can look at that, both internally and externally. These are some of the areas that we can actually look at in terms of opportunities, and we've been doing that and giving value back. And look at that, every single aspect of your life through data and AI. And here are some of the companies that you can recognize who have actually taken advantage of this and started changing productivity, outcomes, and so on. So, question, do you think data will replace human beings? Yes, no? Yes? No. Data will not replace human beings, and I will quickly explain. But most people say that people, using data, the AI, will replace human beings who are not using AI. Does that make sense? actually only half sense. And let me explain that. Because what you can do is you can take an AI pill. You can learn about this, all right? And once you've done that, when you reboot your system, is it still relevant? And is your industry relevant in the structure? So what you need to do is ask yourself a different question. Is my AI, I can improve my job with AI, I can improve my efficiency with AI, I can augment myself. But is the logic of my business changing? If you were a typist in the year 1990, you were being paid for accuracy and speed. Word processing came in, typists went out, because the whole logic and the structure of typing, we all use word processing now. So we don't need typists sitting outside typing our stuff. So the logic changed with Kodak, it changed with digital photography, etc., etc. So this is some of the things that will happen. And what will happen is that you need to ask yourself different questions and say, how do I use my AI? Is the future of AI and the architecture of the work that I'm doing changing? And train for that. And that's going to be your new job. So do you feel fear or do you feel hope? I have a funny video for it. Fear or hope? Hope, brilliant. We have put a little lady, an old lady in a car. It's a self-driving car. And we basically asked her not to hold the steering wheel. See what happens to her.
I'm scared. Oh, there's cars coming. Oh, there's cars. Ah. Bill, this put me back for me control it. Oh, dear. I could never. Oh, where's it going? Oh, this is so scary. I couldn't do it. Oh, is the car coming? What is this? Oh, it's.
Okay, we feel sorry for this lady. Why is she screaming? What's the word? Why is she so scared? Sorry? Fear is one, but why do you have the fear? Trust, lack of trust. And the word that I'm looking for is lack of control. She can't put the brake and she can't do the steering wheel. What are we having in our lives? We have this kind of fear coming into our lives because we're losing control. The Dubai Land Department is losing control. Etisalat is losing control. When WhatsApp call comes in, Etisalat screams like that. So these are the kind of things that you need to be looking at, what's coming in and how we be able to address it. So as we end, we are living in a new world. New solutions, new ideas, and so on. And in this new world, I like to use a formula that I use for all board members and board companies all over the world. And I've done this, as I said, hundreds of times. And it's the Google's famous 70-20-10 rule. And I work, if anybody here from Alec Construction, they may know me, we've actually done this with them, is 70% of the time you spend on your core business and you optimize it in 10x your core business. 20% of your time you have your edge businesses, which a lot of you are doing, and 10% doing something really unique and special, which will fundamentally grow your brand and change everything. So you have the 70-20-10 rule within your business structure, and that is how you will shape the future. So with all of these, jobs are changing. You want to see the jobs of the future that you will be doing? Here we go. These are your jobs that you will be actually doing. Environment architect, robot resource manager, these are the kind of new jobs. Not construction manager, not building manager, different jobs. And there are a huge set of jobs that we can identify from there. So, to close, ladies and gentlemen, you think, how many people want to change their lives here? Change? You're trying to change? Guys, forget it. Change is not necessary. Change is too slow. If you just try to change, you'll get left behind. You need to transform. And more than transform, perhaps you need to reinvent yourself. So this is a beautiful story of an eagle. It's a fable. And what we're basically doing with this eagle is how we transform ourselves. It's actually a story of my life. I have reinvented myself 3 times. And I think you are at that stage where incremental growth will not be enough. And we will end with this video. It's a beautiful video. And let me share this with you. It's the story of an eagle. An eagle lives to about 70 to 80 years, just like us as human beings. And when it reaches about 40, we all get old. We're looking at retirement. We get weaker. And then my beak starts getting weak we get weaker. My talons, my claws get weaker. My feathers are not strong enough. So I go hungry because we're just not strong enough. And this is the change that's happening in the world. We need to extend our business lives, our work lives. And when we do that, she can't fly. And then it has to make a choice. We need to make a choice. You need to make a choice. And that choice, ladies and gentlemen, is die, metaphorically, in other words, just fade away, or do something meaningful. And then she flies up to the top of the mountain and stays up at the top of the mountain and starts bringing about its transformation and reinvention. And what it does, it breaks its beak, which means learning something new. Then the beak grows back, the feathers grow back, talons grow back, everything grows back because you have reinvented yourself in a new industry, in a new environment, and so on. And once it's all done, then it becomes stronger. And when it becomes stronger, this process lasts for 150 days. And then at that point, ladies and gentlemen, it takes its flight of rebirth, its flight of regeneration, its flight of transformation. You guys are at the peak of your careers and opportunities. You don't need to just to survive. You need to thrive. You need to build your future, ladies and gentlemen. At this conference, this environment, this kind of thinking is the perfect angle and opportunity to do that. So go out there, fly like an eagle, go out there and make stuff happen for yourself. Thank you very much indeed.